Ebusiafo Endrada ɛna Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ekoko PM ɛwɔ University of Professional Studies Accra UPSA twa ne ti a friend UPSA na ɔde n'ani so ade hunu a ɔwɔ ɛma ɔman Ghana afe 2024 yi sɛ yɛbɔ mmɔden ɛto aba ɛma na nneɛma pa a ɔwɔ ɛma ɔman Ghana ɛne nneɛma a ɔbɛyɛ ama ɔman Ghana asan afa ne ntoma pa efra bi mu ɔde tu gya fɛfɛɛfɛɛfɛ ɛma nkurɔfoɔ bebree naa Ghanafoɔ bebree naa adwene ɛsesae anya adwensakyera wei meka wei ɛfiri sɛ ɛyɛ NDC manyukuo no ɛne ne otu frankaa ma ɔmo ɛyɛ John Dramani Mahama ɛde kan ɛde nsɛm bi aba abɛto abɔnten so a na yɛn nyinaa anim sɛ ɛyɛ 24-hour economy ana nkurɔfoɔ ɛbɔ gye so paa yie wɔ ɔman yi mu na ebi nso ɛsan so ɛbisa sɛ asɔ Mahama 24-hour economy no edwuma bɛn ɛna wayɛ ana edwuma bɛn na wabiebie wɔ ɔman yi mu a ɔde nkurɔfoɔ ɛkɔ akɔto edwuma mu ama ɔmayɛ saa 24-hour sɛ bɛ edwuma koraa mpo ebi nni ɔman yi mu ne aba abɛyɛ 24-hour economy ɛma ɔsan so bɛkeka sɛ teachers licential exams na ɔbɛyi taxes ahodoɔ a just ɛdedadeda nneɛma binom so no including ɛyɛ bet ne deɛ ɛkeka ho no ɔbɛhwɛ ama ɔmo yi ne nyinaa efiri ɛyɛ Ghanafoɔ anatenmufoɔ so. Wei ɛna Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Ndrada ɛwɔ UPSA abɔnten so ɔmo auditorium kɛseɛ paa na deɛ ebusuafoɔ ɛsɛ w'ani ɛsɛ yɛka kyerɛw ne deɛ nsɛm na ɔboro so saa ɛne taxes a waka sɛ ɔbɛyi free so deɛ ntumi sɛ papa no n'adwene ne n'anisoade hu nyinaa akɔ technology okura saa technology mindset no ebusuafoɔ science and technology nso deɛ ɛnoa ɛna ɛboa ɛma ɔman etu mpɔnte wei na Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ɛde to dwa no aboa ma nkurɔfoɔ bebree adwene asesa including the president of Utah ɔno nso n'adwene asesa ama waba abɛkasa na ɔno n'ano di nsɛm ɛna ndɛ yɛkɔ akɔgye bi na yɛtie ma yɛhu adwensakyera aba nkurɔfoɔ so ɛnam Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ne nsɛm Ndrada ɔde ɛba bɛto abɔnten so ma afoforɔ nso etumi enye bi ɛyɛ dɛ ɛhwɛ yɛ Inti yensa umekwani nkonkonti nkurɔfoɔ ani bi nsɛm a wɔde bɛto abɔnten including the president of Utah ne nsɛm a ɔde bɛto abɔnten so yɛnkɔne nkɔgye asɛm nkyerɛ yɛ ba yɛde de aka awa bɛto so ɛwɔ aheɛ ɛnkɔ baabi a Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ɔno na ɔba ana John Dramani Mahama na ɛba nkurɔfoɔ adwensakyera no sɛ na akɔ akɔsi yensa nkɔgye aha Kofi Countryman TV Kofi Countryman TV de ebusuafoɔ trending latest news in here de from our channel so nene kegere di kan aba ha subscribe my notification bell no like video no my na share na afoforɔ sanso ntimi nke bi mo nhwɛ uwi a de kyewa adwen so bi ɛfa ansɛm ya wotie mu na wakyerɛ wadwen ɛwɔ comment section ase ama na efefefe yense wo mrekwa yenkɔ ne nkɔgye asɛm nkyerɛ
I mean, it was such that anytime he brought up a policy proposal, you could see some people applauding. And I was speaking to some people after the presentation. All the people I spoke to seemed to suggest that, well, this is a well thought through presentation, one that speaks to the heart of whatever people like the traders have been speaking to in some time now. I mean, Dr. Joseph Obeng is here with me. We'll go straight to him. Doc, so earlier I spoke to you. You seem to really appreciate all that the Vice President did. But you've been in the past speaking about taxes. The Vice President has spoken about the removal of e-levy. He's speaking about the removal of the emissions tax, the VAT on electricity, if that is still there. I mean, how do you see all of the things that the Vice President spoke about in his presentation? I'm
overly excited. This is exactly what I wanted to hear, and I heard it. It means that they have been listening to whatever pleas that we have been doing. The communication that we do with you on TV and all that is being listened to. And of course, it's all about he adopting compliance as a tool of revenue collection in his administration. And that is going to simplify tax collection system. That's why he's talking about flat rate, and that is going to even make duty payment flat rated, starting with spare parts. Why can't I be excited if this is what, after all these years we've said have been ahead of and being going to be adopted. So we are very excited. The fact that he said that invigilation should be the thing of the past in his administration. It means that he has also listened to a plea by the invigilation by VAT, and that being in government now, I believe he is talking to GRA to stop those exercises. And that, for us, is very positive. And the fact that he is also saying that GRA should, in his administration, he will do post-class audit for 5 years. Yeah, that's for 5 yearly is okay, so that we can have the freedom and peace to, because we are not to be treated as common criminals when doing business, and that's 5 years is okay. What is happening now is 1 year, every 2 years they will come do postcards or they charge you some amount to pay and all that, and that does not augur well. So what he says is that he's going to expand the tax net. He said that because that's why he started with the 10 number and all that, and that has captured a lot of capable taxpayers who are outside the tax net, and that is what he's going to use to make taxes affordable so that everybody will pay. That's what I understood, and that he says that he's going to make things very flat. When you do that, it means that he's going to take away all the leakages in the tax system. And this is what we have drummed over and over and over, that when you do your the duty flat, it means that nobody is going to take advantage, the custom officer or the agent or even the trader, because we all know that this is the flat rate that we have to pay.
So you're saying that after listening to the flag bearer, you are convinced that going forward, things will be cheaper for us, the consumers?
Yeah. It means that if he's able, in case he wins power, and then he adopts it, because we know that this is feasible, this is workable. It's not rocket science. These things that we've said is what other countries have done, and they are being highly competitive in the market. We are very uncompetitive because of the high rates of duties that we pay. And he might have recognized that and said that he is going to simplify things for us. He's going to make things flat rated for us, so that affordability, and then expand the tax net. This is all that we have been saying all this time. And so it's very important that, because it's very good that a leader should listen to what his people, that's all democracy is about. And I'm overly excited, and I believe that all the other political parties should also go on the same tangent, and then know the needs of the business community and structure their policies around that.
But in the next 30 seconds, you believe that if he assumes power, he is able to do that? He will be able to do all that?
He was able to establish some credibility, because he said that when they came to power, he was able to do this and that they removed the nuisance taxes and all that, because they wanted to move from taxation to production. And so they did well for the first term, but on the second term, because of the COVID and this Ukraine war and all that, they had challenge. So he has said where he was doing well and where he had the challenge. And then he also took his time to itemize those things that he has done in the digitization, that every Ghanaian know that it is working. And so for that reason, you know that there's credibility in what he's saying. And this is what I wish that all other political parties should now take us, because I believe this year's election is going to be intellectual based. Anybody who go on the insult is gone. It's not going to. So it shouldn't be personalized or even politicized. That this party. Let's listen to them and see the messages that carry the meat, and then we go for it. And so I'm very excited the way things are going. Because don't forget that only last week I also I was at the Afrofanto movement, butterfly movement, or whatever, I don't know, their dialogue, economic dialogue, and so we do that. And he's saying that this is not his manifesto, so we are going to engage him to add more, so that the manifesto will be rich, so that they can make it as a whole policy. To the benefit of the Ghanaian business community.
All right. Evan, so there you heard it. Traders are very okay with what the Vice President put forth today. Let's see how in the coming days the discussions will be.
proudly that I did not support this when it came to cabinet and there was a debate. The economic management team, if it did, and I expect that there's a huge tax handle like this will definitely come to the economic management team, I chaired it, and somehow I was still overruled. How? That screams a lot when he makes that declaration. For a policy that is still being implemented, Vice President says, when you give me the chance, I will abolish it. But he says the tone at the top, didn't he? When he says, well, I am the driver's mate now, and I'm looking for the Monday to be my own man, and when I get that authority, I will abolish something that is currently being implemented under my watch.
I see it this way also. And so the Vice President, when he was talking about his tax system, tax reform, talks about how it's estimated that, how much we do not get to collect is in excess of some 13% of GDP. That's over about $24 billion, over 240 billion Ghana cedis. Okay, so he's talking about putting in place measures to be able to collect all of these. And that's why he's introducing a flat rate for SMEs and all of that. And we have said all the time, that where there's a favorable tax regime, people do not avoid or people do not evade. So I hear him saying, this is what I intend to do. And based on that, so when he creates fiscal space, now e-levy, he wants to create a fiscal space of, for instance, 3% of GDP. And if we're looking at GDP for 2024, which is expected to be about the total, expected to be about some 1 trillion, then 3%, you're looking at some 30 billion. Currently, e-levy will be raking in less than 3 billion Ghana cedis. So that means that if you do all of these things, you would have enough revenue, okay? You have enough space and would not need e-levy. He's talked about a lot of cost-cutting measures. He's talked about running a lean government. He's talked about other things which he believes would help the government. So all of these things will lead to the abolishing of the e-levy. But this is the point also. The Vice President has consistently shied away from the e-levy conversation.
Yeah.
And that would give an indication that he may not have been in support of it. But of course, it wouldn't have made sense earlier to go out there to say, I am not in support of it. His action today would suggest, you can reasonably infer, that he was not in support of it. And some of the things that he's not in support of, he wants to say, he now says, I would abolish them. But this is the other point also. In doing so, because he's talking about creating space, cutting down a lot of things, which would free a lot of expenditure, that would make sense. Because if you have all of these things, then you can move on and say,